Welcome to the second part of the possible reasons to fall of the Roman Empire. Throughout the history of the Roman Empire and its previous Republican period, it suffered from numerous civil wars. Some of the more major civil wars would be the likes of the civil war with Julius Caesar fighting against Pompey, which took place in 49 to 45 BC, which is also known as the Great Roman Civil War, which was one of the last political and military conflicts in the Republic's era before the establishment of the Roman Empire. It began as a series of political and military confrontations between Julius Caesar, his political supporters, his legions, against the Senate-backed Roman Senate, who was supported by Pompey. After a 5-year period, the political and military struggle fought in Italy, Greece, Egypt, Africa, and Hispania, Caesar defeated the last of the Senate's legions in the Battle of Monday and became the dictator in perpetuity of Rome. The changes to Roman government. Another possible reason for the fall of Rome could be to do with the fact that when Rome was split between East and West, the western half suffered quite quickly and fell rather rapidly. Well, in comparison, the East was able to maintain itself for another 1,000 years following the fall of the Western Roman Empire. Now, it's not clear whether or not this is because the East was safer against barbarians, so you didn't have all different tribes coming in and hitting the East, because you also had Attila the Hun was hitting one side of the Eastern Roman Empire, but then he moved with his tribes towards the West, and they had to deal with some Eastern empires like the Persian empires coming at them from the eastern flank. So essentially they still had a traditional player, but not a unpredictable opponent such as the different barbarian tribes which would come to plague the western half. Even as Rome was under attack from outside forces, it was crumbling from within thanks to a severe financial crisis. Constant wars and overspending had significantly heightened imperial coffers, and oppressive taxation and inflation had widened the gap between rich and poor. In the hope of avoiding the taxman, many members of the wealthy classes had even fled to the countryside and set up independent fiefdoms. At the same time, the empire was rocked by a labour deficit. Rome's economy depended on slaves to tile its fields and work as craftsmen, and its military might have traditionally provided a fresh influx of conquered people to put to work. But when expansion ground to a halt in the 2nd century, Rome's supply of slaves and other war treasures began to dry up. A further blow came in the 5th century when the Vandals claimed North Africa and began disrupting the trades by prowling the Mediterranean as pirates. With its economy faltering and commercial and agricultural production in decline, the empire began to lose its grip on Europe. Obviously, with such a large empire, corruption becomes a big factor as well. So, as Rome's sheer size made it difficult to govern, ineffective and inconsistent leadership only served to magnify the problem. Being the Roman emperor had always been a particularly dangerous job, but during the tumultuous 2nd and 3rd centuries, it nearly became a death sentence. Civil war thrust the empire into chaos. More than 20 men took the throne in a span of nearly 75 years, usually after the murder of their predecessor. The Praetorian Guard, the emperor's personal bodyguards, assassinated and installed new sovereigns at will, and even once auctioned the spot off to the highest bidder. The political rot also extended to the Roman Senate, which failed to temper the excesses of the emperors due to their own widespread corruption and incompetence. As the situation worsened, civic pride waned, and many citizens lost their trust in their leadership. One of the other major factors of the fall of Rome was the Vandal Germanic tribe. Now, they were originally based somewhere in Poland, but were pushed out of their homelands by the likes of the Huns and the Goths. So as the Huns pushed the Goths towards the Roman Empire, the Goths pushed the Vandals, and so on. So eventually what we find is, as the Goths would make their presence in what is modern-day France and northern Spain, the Vandals were pushed down into southern Spain and North Africa. So obviously they would in turn remove Roman provinces of North Africa, which were a major position of Roman power and income. Now, this would be just a problem in itself, but also the fact that they would essentially become pirates of the Mediterranean, stopping trade, and they would ultimately sack Rome in 455. Now, this would show that the Vandals could do whatever they like. They would later take Sicily and establish a strong kingdom which would last for another 75 years before it was defeated by the Eastern Roman Empire, but would create a lot of problems for Rome and stop it from really gaining any sort of income and stability in the region. Thanks for watching this Euro Hybrid video. If you enjoyed this video, please stick around and subscribe. I hope to see you again soon.